Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you're all having a great day. I am popping in with what I hope will be a quicker video for me. So we'll see how this goes. But essentially what I wanted to do was show you a really cool technique for using, for adding a little bit of color and a little bit of sparkle to embossed images. Okay, so on black, so a darker cardstock. So that's what we're going to do. So these are some that have pre-done. And we're just going to get right into the technique. So follow along. I've already embossed a few panels because this isn't about showing you how to use your embossing folders and stuff. I have other videos for that. So go check those out. But what I want to do is I'm going to show you two really cool techniques using two different kinds of inks that you might have on hand. So the first one, so I've got this really cool embossed panel. So again, this was just done on 65-pound cardstock from Michaels. It's very inexpensive. Might even be able to see some here where the embossing folder cut into it so much that it's torn up a little bit. So we're going to be a little gentle with it. But on this particular one, what I'm going to use is a metallic pigment ink. Pigment ink sits on top of the paper, so it's not going to sit and sink in. So when it's a metallic one, so regular pigment inks, this may not work with because it has to have either a chalky base to it or some metallic or mica in it, so that it will your basic pigment inks would still sit on top of this, but it's not going to, because it's a darker colored cardstock, it won't show on top of the black, basically. So I need something that's going to have a reflective property or a chalky finish to it. So I could use white pigment ink, and that would show, obviously. But what I'm going to use and what I'm going to start with is these metallic pigment inks. So because it's got the metallic or the, so again, it's a pigment ink, it will sit on top of my paper, but it also has the mica, which is the shine or the metallic part. So that will create a reflective color on the black. Okay, so that's going to be very important. So these are new to me. I got them for Christmas, and I think I've only played with them 2 or 3 times, but they're very, very, very pretty. And now I do know that Lisa Horton also has colored pigment inks, colored metallic pigment inks. So this would work beautifully with those if you have that for this particular technique. All right, so I'm going to start with the Cloud 9. And now if you have smaller ink pads, this might be a little easier, but we're going to work with what we're going to work with. Now, this is not going to be perfect. It's going to be a little bit grunge. So if that bothers you, this won't be the technique for you. Okay. And I'm just going to take my ink pad and I'm going to rub it in a few areas, kind of just touching the edge of the ink pad, because I don't need the full thing and I want to put on a couple of different colors. So I'm just using, I've got it lifted just slightly, kind of like this at an angle on my paper so that I can drag my ink pad across, but not get like the full square coverage of it, if you understand what I'm talking about there. So that was the Copper Pot by Lisa Horton. Now I'm going to come in with my silver. This is the Silver Shine, and it is wonderfully bright. So, and I'm just going to kind of, again, catch just using the edge of my ink pad. I don't want to get everything on here. I just want it in a few spots. I don't want it to be a super solid saturation of the ink pad, right? Or of across my panel. So that was the Silver Shine, and this one is going to be the Silver Gold. So again, I'm just going to come in and I'm going to touch my ink pad down. And this is, again, like I said, it's a pigment-based ink. So that means it stays wet for longer. That's how come this technique will work with these particular items kind of thing. We don't have to use a Versa Fine or anything like that, or Versa Mark, sorry, like a your clear sticky ink. What we're looking for is the color. I want it to stick. I want it to stay wet for a bit, but I want the color. I don't want it to be clear, right? Because obviously that's how we're adding the color to our embossed image here. Okay. Next thing we're going to pull out is some clear detailed embossing powder. Now, if you had, let's say you don't have these colored inks, okay, not a problem, but you'd still like to give the technique a try, pull out your embossing powder. Okay, so your clear sticky ink, which is typically Versamark, a Boss powder, or sorry, Boss inking, Wow, anything that is your clear sticky or your watermark ink, pull that out. You can do the same technique, dragging it across your paper and use like a silver or a gold embossing ink, basically. Okay, so you can see here, it's quite, see all the frosting there. That is all of the areas that my ink was still wet. And so now my embossing powder is sticking to that ink. That's exactly what I wanted. So you've heard me multiple times say, so if you don't have these kinds of inks, you can pull out like your gold. The gold would work, gold detail embossing powder, silver. I have a champagne colored, but I don't carry a ton of colors because I invest in my inks instead. So so that's usually why also I got rid of almost all of my colored ink. Sorry, my colored embossing powders because I use my VersaFine Clair and then just my clear detailed embossing powder because it's clear. So whatever ink I have underneath there, that will then have that beautiful, shiny, glossy look to it from the melted embossing powder. So now I'm just watching to make sure I'm seeing where my embossing powder is melting. As soon as it starts to go from that kind of frosted look to the shine, I'm now moving on. I move my heat tool over so that I'm not burning my embossing powder. I'm not scorching my paper. Now, just under here, I just have, this is like a silicone trivet. I think I got it from, I don't know. I don't know if I got this one from the dollar store. It might have been Temu. Could have even been like a Winners or something way a long time ago. But I don't want to burn my mat. And so the silicone keeps, like my glass mat, I don't want to overheat it. But I use this now as a base for when I am heat embossing because this is for like hot pots and things that come right out of the oven. So it will handle having direct heat on it without burning, and I can touch it and not burn myself. But look at how cool that looks. So I get all of the, I get some, I can highlight the texture, right, of that has been embossed and brought up. So, which is what I do with the colors. But I now also am able to then have it be a little bit shiny because of the clear embossing powder that went on there, and it helps to highlight the metallic. Right. So it's kind of cool. It's a kind of a cool technique there. And the nice thing, because again, I said pigment inks stay wet for longer, but because I've now, so if I was doing this after I had just brushed on my inks, so if I had just taken this and had been just added my ink to my paper, it's fairly saturated. If I'd have gone like that, even though it's been a couple of minutes since I put it down, I might have smeared it because pigment ink can stay wet for 15, 20. Actually, I had a friend who had some white pigment ink. It was still wet 6 months later. It would still smudge. So this way, by doing it this way, I've now put it underneath some embossing powder. It's been melted and I can touch it as much as I want now that I've let the embossing powder kind of dry as well. Because again, it was hot, basically like hot wax kind of thing, right? Okay, so that is one technique that I use. And so again, that was just with clear embossing powder and metallic pigment inks. Okay, but let's say I want to make an image and I want to add color that isn't metallic. Well, how about I have this beautiful image here. I don't know how much that's going to translate through. So this is a flower, and you guys all know I don't do a ton of flowers, but I do have some that I like. Tulips. Tulips are my favorite. But I've often looked at these kinds of embossing folders, and there's a bunch of techniques. Lisa Horton has gorgeous, gorgeous embossing folders with what do you call it, with die cuts and things like that to cut out the big flower images and stuff like that. But what I wanted to do is, so this is really beautiful as it is. I could just simply take that, put it on a card front, add on a sentiment, call it good, right? Like that's very nice. But what if I want to highlight some of the image that's back there? Well, do you happen to have Distress Oxides? Oxides, again, are they're a specialty type of ink that has a pigment and a dye base quality to it. They also have a like a chalk finish to them. So they sit, so they will have almost like a white cast. That's what this was. So you can see the color on top of the darker cardstock. This one can almost, it's maybe not showing quite as well, but this is basically rainbow. So I went from like this was fired brick, crackling campfire, mustard seed, twisted citron, prize ribbon, and I think this was wilted violet. Might have been seedless preserves, but yeah. So I have now a really nice little rainbow there. And I used a different clear embossing powder. So I'm going to show you with that one this time. So I've pulled out a couple of colors. I've got two greens for doing my my leaves, but I'm going to start with peacock feathers. So now again, this would be easier if I had the small cubes, but Distress Oxides didn't at one time come in the smaller cubes. And so when I started collecting them, they only came in this size. I believe they do now come in a smaller size, but you need to work with what you got. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm picking up my image. And again, so you can see here that I've got like, I'm going to work on, kind of try and work on the edges from my ink pad here. And I'm going to I'm picking up my cardstock because I want to fold it or roll it to get that edge to the top. And now I'm just going to highlight, I'm going to go in and I'm going to highlight the flower areas to the best of my ability. Now, again, as I said when we started here, this is not going to be perfect, right? It might look a little grunge, and that's okay. But we're experimenting again. What can I do? Okay. Embossing folders are an inexpensive tool, so they're good to invest in, right? So you might have some of these, probably have some dark cardstock. What else can we do with these? Do you have some pigment-based inks? Because you could do this also with white cardstock and just clear embossing powder. You could also do it if you still have colored embossing powder. Like I said, I don't have a lot of colored embossing powder because I invested in good quality pigment-based inks. So I don't want to have to invest in every color of the rainbow of what's the word that I'm looking for? Of embossing powders. So I don't have those. So I don't all I've got is this. So I want to work with this. But I could do this with, again, as I said, I could do this with my I could do this on white as well. So, and you can see here, as I'm doing this, so I'm just kind of rolling my cardstock or my embossed image, rolling it a little bit over my fingers to try and get the areas that I want to add color kind of hitting the top so that it's making it a little bit easier for me to utilize my kind of this square blockish ink pad, right? Because it was a little complicated. And I'm just shifting the directions, moving it from side to side a little bit, trying to bend it and get it into and bring some of those areas up a little closer, working with the embossing that's there, trying to catch all of the details, etc. Okay. And get that in there a little bit. So, and again, so you can see here how well the color is showing up on the black, right? So this is Distress Oxides, and this color is, I think it was peacock feathers, but I'll double check before pull that up. Okay. And we're just going to catch those edges there. Go. More to the flower edge. Okay. And let's see. Oh, look at me. I was right. Peacock feathers. Okay, so now before I add my embossing powder, what I want to do is I'm also going to go in, because these guys I'm going to use a different embossing powder. So I'm just going to go in and kind of add a little bit of purple to the butterflies that are here. Oops. Okay, so again, I'm kind of putting my finger underneath the butterfly on the underneath the cardstock, kind of just giving it a feel based on the texture from below. Okay. Like I said, this is not going to be perfect. I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but I can work with my card just a little bit, make it a little easier. Okay. There we go. Okay, so and this was Seedless Preserves, which is kind of a pinky purpley color, so that's kind of interesting. Now for this one, I am going to use, this is Recollections Sparkle Embossing Powder. And we're just going to, I'm going to thoroughly coat this so that it sinks down into all of the crevices, like so. Let it a little bit of shake, and we're going to tip it. That to the side. Now I'm going to scoop this and just put it back into the jar. Now, what I can do is I can come in here and I can look and see, are there any areas that I got embossing powder, because it is a little bit wet, right, still, that I don't want to set. So I'm just going to take that off, because again, once we've dried this, or once we've heat embossed it, that embossing powder will resist any ink that comes over top of it. So if you had any particularly large boo-boos that you feel like, oh, I can't live with that, you just come in with a little bit of a paintbrush and you're just going to sweep some of that embossing powder back off. Okay. To the side. I'm going to cover this so I don't sneeze, blow it all over the place or something. And we're going to heat this up. Now I've already kind of got some cards that I had prepared, put off to the side here, but what I do recommend when you are utilizing and you're getting ready to stick this onto a card front, so putting your card front onto your card base, right? Anytime that you use an embossing folder, particularly a 3D embossing folder, as this was, it will warp your paper, very similar to if you were using watercolor paper. Right, so it will cut in and will create quite a bit of warpage. You can use a liquid adhesive to stick it down. Just make sure that you put something heavy on top of it in order to make sure that that liquid adhesive does adhere. Because again, there will be nooks and crannies on the back side of this too, as you're trying to attach it, right? So, so I recommend often utilizing foam tape, okay, because that will help, because foam tape will get into all of the nooks and crannies on the back and help it lay much flatter. Look at how cool that is looking now. Okay, so we've trapped the color underneath. It's got a little bit of a sparkle to it. I'm just testing. Yeah, okay, it has dried now. So and now I can go over it with my greens because I want to highlight the leaves and things like that. So now I'm going to continue to lift and kind of drag and catch the edges of my embossing, or sorry, my ink pad. But if need be, again, the ink that is trapped in the areas here, so if I have to get in kind of close here, I can wipe some of that away because the ink or the embossing powder here has or will resist the ink. So it won't should not stick there too badly. Just have to watch because the baby wipes will be a little. This is a very because I use the what's the word that I'm looking for? Use your words, Kareem. Because I use the glitter one, it does have quite a bit of tack to it. So it kind of pulls off of my shreds my baby wipes a little bit there. Okay. So coming in, and I'll wipe that off there. Just get a little bit of ink on my fingers. Okay. And I'm going to come in here, and I can see here we've got some blue. Found it on the go. And I want to get up closer to this flower on this side here. And okay, so that was Twisted Citron. So it's a lighter green. And now I'm going to come in with my Mowed Lawn, which is a slightly darker green, just to give it again a little bit of tone and highlight. So for some of the areas that I've missed, I can come in, add in a little bit of shading if I need to. And again, oxides, again, it still has a pigment quality to it. So it is sitting on top of the paper and will stay wet for a little longer than a dye-based ink. Dye-based inks soak into your paper, so it dries much quicker. Touch that edge there. A little bit of ink there. Touch that edge. So let's say you want to add, one of the ways that you can add texture to or color to an embossed image like this is you can use like texture paste and things like that, but sometimes they're quite difficult to control where it's going to go. If it's easy to touch down into other areas, those kind of things. But I think what happens with this is that this turns this into this really beautiful kind of shine, kind of what's the word that I'm looking for? Not distressed or it's another word for it and it escapes me. But that's okay. So now what I'm going to do, you can see here where I've highlighted the green of the leaves, etc. And so now I'm going to come in with my clear, the regular, just the clear embossing powder. And so just adding it in to the areas that have now been touched by the green. Okay, now I do have a couple of spots here that I want to take off. Not a lot. I don't know about the body of that there. Okay, and here. Actually, not bad. A little bit off of the flower here. Flower there. Side of that. Oh, a little bit right there. There we go. Okay, I'm going to heat this up. Then we will finish some cards quickly. So how have you all been? Let me know if there's any new techniques that you're looking at. How did you guys all enjoy? Because this should come up just after Valentine's Day. So there should have been the Valentine's Heart Spinner card should have already have come out. Did you give it a go? How did it work out for you? Did you try a different shape? I thought it'd be really kind of fun to do that with stars or something like that. Yeah. So let me know if it worked out for you and how if you tried it. Hopefully you did and are enjoying that. And again, now I'm just watching until it goes shiny, and then I move my heat tool on. There we go. The heat tool that I'm using looks like a hair dryer. It is not a hair dryer. It will fry your hair, so please don't use it on your hair. But it is called the the Ranger Heated Craft Tool, and it's for you can use it for embossing, it's for drying paint, things like that. Look at Isn't that cool? And now once the embossing powder is dry, it's underneath there. It's not going to wipe off. It's not going to, um, lift or any of that kind of stuff. And we've got some beautiful, beautiful color. So let's put these together now. So just off to the side here, I have some that I've already stuck down, the bases I've already stuck down onto my cardstock so that you guys didn't have to watch me fiddling with my foam tape. So you can see here, I put it on foam tape so that it would get into all of the nooks and crannies and have it on there. Okay. So I have a few options here. So this is essentially very similar, although it looks like I got a little bit more carried away with the ink on this one, right? But same embossing folder. Okay. Exact same technique. Okay, so now I'm trying out a few different, so this is a standard A2 size card. So it should be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I cut all of my panels down before I emboss them because I don't like pushing onto the edges and stuff once they've been embossed and possibly lifting it. So they all got cut down to 4 by 5 1/4 so that I would have a nice little bit of a border, especially because I was using black cardstock. I knew that I wanted to have some color framing it kind of thing. Okay, so now I'm pulling out just a few sentiments that I had ready to go. So I have this really lovely, it's a big bold thanks that I cut out of like a specialty metallic silver cardstock and then put on some vellum. How cool. That would look really nice. That's cool. I also have a few sentiments that have been stamped with gold or silver. And then actually I probably just stamp these with Versamark and then use gold and silver embossing powder to get that nice little shine. Okay. I'm kind of liking the white on there. The gold is really nice too. Big birthday vibes. That's really cool. I have this nice let's celebrate. So to me, this is a much more masculine card. This little heart here is a little weird in case I was giving this to a colleague or something like that. Even just this little celebrate down here in the corner. So this is a something that I did with my hot foiling machine. Yeah, and just some copper. And then this is from the same birthday sentiment set. It's a whole set from Simon Says Stamp that I got that has the dies plus the stamps. Yeah, and I really like it. But this also works too. Look at how easy and simple that would be, right? Gives me really nice kind of popping off of it. I like it. Side to side just fits exactly right where I would want it. So decisions. I think I'm going to go with this gold one and I'm going to stick it right here. So just so you guys can see. Okay. So I've kind of got a bit of an overspray here of my embossing powder. So I'm just going to stick this right here. Kind of coordinates in with where the golds are, etc. Now I can stick this flat down, or if I wanted, I could put some foam tape behind it. But because, again, I often end up mailing a lot of things, I don't want to add too much dimension. I've already added foam tape behind here. So I'm just going to add some liquid adhesive behind. And I do want to have a decent coating because the liquid adhesive is going to be going on top of that embossing powder in some areas. And the embossing powder, of course, as I told you, it will resist ink. Well, that means it's non-porous. So I have to watch to make sure that there is going to be some area that my adhesive is going to adhere to my card back, like the card stock. Okay, so now I'm just going to put some blocks on the top of that. Let that sit. Now, here is the previous one that I had done. On this one I used, this was Wilted Violet and then Salvage Patina for the flower instead of, but very, very similar. Now, when I was looking at this, I thought this would also be a very nice, this could be a really great, great. I mean, it's never good when you have to do a sympathy card, but this would work really lovely as a sympathy card. And this one just says, the ones we love are never more than a thought away. Memories live in our heart forever. So this could be trimmed down and just put there and call that done, right? Like it still has some color. It's pretty. It's not too flashy. So that could work. But I don't typically need a lot of uh I don't typically need a lot of sympathy cards, fortunately. But I do have, again, some more sentiments here that I have stamped with VersaFine with the colored pigment inks. And then I just did clear embossing powder over them. So I have all of these in various colors, but I didn't have to buy the different embossing powders because I already have the inks, right? So now I can come in and have them kind of coordinate with the sentiments that I already have on here. Hmm. Okay, so this is kind of cool, right? So I could do celebrate big, you deserve it. I like it up there. I don't mind that. It's also quite nice right down here. I do down here. I like this edge here. I also prepped, I have this little flag of you warm my heart. Now that could also be a birthday card, thanks, thinking of you, um, whatever. And I like it because it has this really nice little hint of pink to it, which also then, so it's kind of metallic pink there. But it kind of brings in the purple, actually, because this one is a little bit more purpley or pink. Yep, I'm going to use that one with that one. And I'm going to do this one on here. Celebrate big, you deserve it. Where do we like it? What are we thinking? Here, here. Could also go up here. Sorry, that's kind of out of frame for you guys. Okay, that's not bad. No, I don't like its center because well, I don't want to cover up the butterflies, I think. So I think I like it kind of right in this corner. I tend to like the lower right-hand corner. If I'm going to put it low, I like the lower right-hand corner. Now this guy, I do want to pop up just a little bit because there's a lot of bump and texture down here with all of these leaves. So I'm going to pull out some, what have we got here? Big, but I've got some foam squares here. So let's pull these out. See if we can work with those here. Just one here. And I think I can get that in right there. Perfect. Okay. Oh no, get in there. Oh, I don't know what I've done. All else fails, just rip the bag. You'll be fine. Okay, so let's peel these backers off. Release papers. Ooh, this is very sticky. It's been in there for a while. Come in here. 2 and 3. All right, celebrate big. So I'm just going to put that on my tweezers here and lift it up and over so that I can see where I'm putting it. And I quite like it right there. Okay, now these guys already have quite a bit of bling on them because of the number one, this one was metallic, but also I used, you've got the clear embossing powder, so it's got quite a bit of shine. But if you wanted to, you could pull out. So probably not on this one because that's kind of more of a masculine one, but you could pull out some pearls. Let's do some little flat back pearls on this guy here. This one, those are cute. Raindrops. Okay, so I think for this one, we will do the little white ones. And my picker tool. Here, let's see here. Let us do. That is very visible on there. Nope, I don't want that one. It's to be a little more subtle. Still want some sparkle, but I want it to be a little subtle. So let's pull these guys out. These are these really cute. They're almost like well, they are see-through, but they have they're just little guys. So they when you end up putting them on your cards and stuff, they end up looking like almost like little dewdrops. But they pick up the colors that are behind them, which is nice. Okay, 1, 2, 3. The little ones. There we go. Okay, so let's pull these up and do This is going to be one. Let's do. Oh, I think I want to put them on the petals here of the flower. That's kind of cool. 1, 2. Let's do one up here. 3. 4. Oh, fudge, that turned over. Come on now, work with me. Oh, come on now. Okay, fine. We'll get another one. We'll get another one. It'll be that way. Okay. So you can just sort of see the glare or the glitz or the yeah, the shine, I guess is what it would be. Sheen. 1, 2, 3. Let's get these two here. I'm gonna put a little bit more on these guys because they are going to they're sitting on the petals, plus they're on that sparkly embossing powder. So now once that glue dries back, that'll work really well on there. We could also add some colors on here. So let's do, this guy does need a little bit of something. It's a little plain. So let's do one here, and what size is that? Same size. That. There, and another size here. Another size, another size. And put in there. And this one needs to be a different size. So we can come there, and this guy needs to be small little guy. Okay, just a little bit of, again, a little bit of shine. Not too much. Go right that side. Ooh, blue or something on the bottom there. Okay, put that to the side. Last one I'm going to quickly do here is going to be the tulip one. Let's get a little bit, we'll get a little bit of something colorful on that because it needs a little bit of something colorful. So what have we got here? What do I have that is colorful? Oh, these guys will be cute. Those yellows. Do I have these guys? Oh yeah, let's got reds and yellows. Let's use those. Okay. So these are just another set of flatback pearls. I tend to, well, I tend to pick mine up just online where, just wherever you can find them and whatever styles you like. I like to do the flat backed because they do add a little bit of color, which is nice, a little bit of shine, but they also don't add a ton of bulk unless you're using these ginormous ones, which obviously I won't be using the ginormous one here. We do need a red one. Here, where's the red? There we go. Red. It's another orange. Another yellow in there. A bit of gold. There's another yellow right there. Okay. Ooh, that's a much brighter yellow. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because my sentiment is over here, I'm going to start with a couple of jewels this way and go that way. Okay. So we've got a red here and kind of a lighter, maybe I'll do this yellow like that. And then we will do an orange over this way and yellow and this orange, which I didn't end up picking up. Haha. There we go. Kind of like that. What do we think? think I would like to have the red over here. Oh, red, yellow. Mhm. Oof. Decisions, decisions. Maybe what we'll do is just have these kind of grouped down yonder here. Oh yeah, see that covers up where I had that extra of the ink there. That's not bad. With this orange one, maybe. Up, shooting it out. Oh dear. Oh dear. There we go. Okay. Mm. I don't like it. All right, let's pick these up. So I'm actually going to go back to using the colorful, just the like the water droplets. I'm going to put them on the leaves and just make them look like drops of water, like dew. Morning dew. Mm. All right. Okay. Oh, for fudge sakes. That's not great. Where did you do that for? Okay. Whoop. All right. So we've got this really nice big one here. So I'm going to start with that one right down here as a big drop of dew on my leaf. Also going to do one over here. That. And then I've got a slightly smaller one that I can do. And another. Let's do right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more maybe for this one. I think it's because I don't have. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay. I have to spread them out like they actually look like dew. That makes the difference, turns out. All right. These up and I'm going to add them into the connectors of where my leaves are meeting some of the stalks or this. I was going to say stamens. That's not stamens. Stamens is the interior, right? It's the. Okay. So let me just put this back in so we don't lose them all over my desk again. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna put those to the side. So we've got, again, I've still got some extra um, sentiments that I can use for the other ones that I haven't put onto cards yet. But that is going to be our class. And you can see here as these are starting to dry, look at that fun little bit of shine. It's coming up. And we've got this beautiful rose. I think the roses, they might be peonies. Nice masculine card that has a little bit of oomph to it without being like over the top, which is nice. And then some tulips. That's going to be the class today, guys. If you've enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. I'd also love it yeah, if you have any questions or want to give the technique a try or, those kind of things, by all means, please leave them down in the comments section. I do read everything. Remember to keep it kind. And also, if you are enjoying my class length videos, please consider helping me out. My buy me a coffee link will be in the description below. Anything that you feel like putting towards the cause helps to get more supplies and just continue to show you what I'm working on. Anyway, thanks again so much, everybody, for joining me. I will see you in the next video. You all take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.